Tae-ho wiped the sweat from his face as he guided his salvage ship through the floating metal pieces. The asteroid belt around New Busan Station was full of old ship parts and broken mining equipment. Most people saw it as junk, but Tae-ho saw money. Every piece of metal could be sold or used again. His scanner made a soft beeping sound. Something new was out there. Tae-ho looked at the screen and saw a small object moving slowly between two large rocks. It looked different from the usual junk. This one was smooth and round like an egg. "What do we have here?" Tae-ho said to himself. He pushed the controls and moved his ship closer. As he got near, he could see it was an escape pod. The metal was dark blue with strange marks on the side. It was not human-made. Tae-ho felt his heart beat faster. Alien ships were rare in this part of space. Most aliens stayed near the big planets where the Galactic Council had their offices. Out here in the mining stations, it was mostly humans trying to make a living. The pod was damaged. There were burn marks on one side, and the small window was cracked. Tae-ho used his ship's camera to look closer. Inside the pod, he could see someone lying very still. The person had pale blue skin and long silver hair. "An alien," Tae-ho whispered. He had seen pictures of different alien races in school, but never met one in person. This one looked like a Villani. They were known for being peaceful and smart. Tae-ho knew he should call the station right away. Station Chief Park Jin-woo always said that any alien contact must be reported immediately. The Galactic Council had rules about these things. But something made Tae-ho wait. The alien in the pod was hurt. He could see dark marks on her arms and face. If he called the station now, Jin-woo would want to hand her over to the authorities. They would ask many questions and fill out many forms. Meanwhile, she might die from her injuries. Tae-ho made his choice. He connected his ship's docking tube to the escape pod and opened it carefully. The air inside smelled strange, like flowers and metal mixed together. The alien woman was unconscious but still breathing. Her skin felt cold when he touched her arm. Getting her into his ship was not easy. She was tall, almost as tall as Tae-ho, and her body felt heavy. But he managed to carry her to the small medical room in his ship. Tae-ho was not a doctor, but all salvage workers learned basic first aid. He cleaned her wounds as best he could. The burn marks on her skin were unlike anything he had seen before. They seemed to glow with a faint red light, and they felt warm even though her body was cold. Whatever had hurt her was not a normal weapon. As Tae-ho worked, he noticed something else strange. The alien woman's wounds were not healing the way they should. Small cuts and burns usually started to close up after a few hours, but hers stayed the same. It was like something was stopping her body from fixing itself. "Who are you?" Tae-ho asked the unconscious woman. "And what happened to you?" He covered her with a warm blanket and set up a small bed in his storage room. It was the only place on his ship where she could hide if someone came looking. Tae-ho flew his ship back to New Busan Station. The mining station was built inside a large asteroid, with tunnels and rooms carved into the rock. It was not pretty, but it was home to 300 humans who worked the mining ships and processing plants. When Tae-ho docked his ship, he tried to act normal. He unloaded some scrap metal and talked to the other workers about the day's finds. But inside, his mind was racing. He had an injured alien hidden in his ship, and he did not know what to do next. That evening, Tae-ho went to see his friend Bo-ram at the station's small bar. Lee Bo-ram was the head of station security, but she was also someone Tae-ho trusted. Maybe she could help him decide what to do. "You look worried," Bo-ram said as she poured Tae-ho a drink. "Bad day in the salvage field?" "Something like that," Tae-ho replied. He wanted to tell her about the alien woman, but something held him back. Bo-ram was a good friend, but she was also a security officer. Her job was to follow the rules. "Jin-woo got another message from the council today," Bo-ram said. "They want us to report any unusual activity. Apparently, there have been problems with alien refugees trying to hide in the outer colonies." Tae-ho's drink suddenly tasted bitter. "What kind of problems?" "The usual political stuff," Bo-ram shrugged. "Some aliens are running from their homeworlds, and the council wants to know where they go. Not our business, really, but Jin-woo takes his orders seriously." After finishing his drink, Tae-ho went back to his ship. The alien woman was still unconscious, but her breathing seemed stronger. He checked her wounds again. They still glowed with that strange red light. Tae-ho sat in his pilot's chair and stared out at the stars. He had lived his whole life following the rules. Go to work, do your job, don't cause trouble. But now he had a choice that could change everything. He could call Jin-woo right now, tell him about the alien woman. and let the authorities handle it. That would be the safe thing to do. The right thing according to the rules, or he could wait. Try to help her recover and find out what happened to her. It was dangerous. If anyone found out, he could lose his job, maybe even go to prison. Taeho looked back at the storage room where the alien woman slept. She looked peaceful now, but he could see the pain in her face even while she was unconscious. Someone had hurt her badly and she was alone, far from her home. I guess I'm not very good at following rules, Taeho said quietly. He decided to wait, at least until she woke up and could tell him what happened. Then maybe he would understand why she was here, and why someone had tried to hurt her so badly. Outside his ship, the mining station continued its daily routine. Workers came and went, processing the metals and rocks that kept the human colonies running. But inside his small ship, Taeho had made a choice that would change his life forever. He just did not know it yet. 3 days passed before the alien woman woke up. Taeho was checking her wounds when her eyes suddenly opened. They were a deep purple color, unlike any human eyes he had ever seen. She tried to sit up quickly, but Taeho gently pushed her back down. "Easy," he said softly. "You are safe. My name is Taeho. You were hurt when I found you." The woman looked around the small room with confusion and fear. She tried to speak, but only strange sounds came out. Then she closed her eyes and seemed to concentrate very hard. Suddenly, Taeho heard a voice in his head. It was soft and musical, like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "Can you understand me now?" the voice asked. Taeho jumped back in surprise. You are talking in my mind." "Yes," the voice replied. "I am Hyena. I am Vellani. We speak with thoughts when we cannot use voice." Taeho had heard that some aliens could do this, but experiencing it was very different from reading about it. "How do you feel?" "You were badly hurt." Hyena tried to move her arms and winced in pain. "I remember pain, fire, running." Her mental voice became worried. "Where am I?" "You are on New Busan mining station," Taeho explained. "I found you in an escape pod."
"What happened to you?"
Hyena closed her purple eyes and was quiet for a long time. When she opened them again, there was sadness in them that made Taeho's heart ache. "I remember pieces," she said in his mind, "like broken glass. Some parts are clear, others are dark." Over the next few hours, Hyena shared what she could remember. The images came to Taeho's mind like dreams, but he knew they were her real memories. He saw a beautiful world with crystal cities that reached toward purple skies. The Vellani people moved gracefully through gardens filled with flowers that sang in the wind. They were tall and elegant, with silver blue skin and eyes like jewels. "This is Vellano's prime," Hyena's voice whispered in his thoughts. "My home." In another memory, Taeho saw Hyena wearing fine robes, standing in a great hall with other Vellani. They were discussing something important with aliens from different worlds. The memory felt important, like she was someone who made big decisions. "I was a diplomat," she explained. "I helped solve problems between different peoples. The Vellani are good at this because we can sense feelings and thoughts." But then the memories became dark and confusing. Taeho saw flashes of ships in space, explosions, and Vellani people screaming. The images were broken and hard to understand, but the fear in them was very real. "Something terrible happened," Hyena said, and her mental voice shook with emotion. "But I cannot remember clearly. The pain in my head makes it hard to think." Taeho looked at the glowing red marks on her skin. "These burns, what made them?" "I do not know," she replied. "They hurt more than my body. They hurt my thoughts, my abilities. I feel broken inside." That night, while Hyena slept, Taeho used his computer to look up information about Vellano's prime. What he found made him very confused. According to the official records from the Galactic Council, Vellano's prime had been destroyed 3 years ago by a cosmic storm. The entire Vellani race was listed as extinct. No survivors were recorded, but Hyena was clearly alive. How could the records be wrong? Taeho dug deeper into the files. The destruction of Vellano's prime was reported by the Galactic Survey Corps. They said the cosmic storm was impossible to predict and happened very quickly. There was no time to evacuate anyone. Something about the report felt wrong to Taeho. The language was too clean, too simple. Real disasters were messy and confusing. This report read like someone writing a story, not describing a real tragedy. The next day, Taeho's work routine was interrupted by Boram. She came to his ship while he was supposed to be checking his equipment. "You have been acting strange lately," Boram said, watching Teho carefully. You spend too much time on your ship and you look tired all the time. Teho tried to act normal. Just working hard. Lots of good salvage out there lately. Boram nodded, but her eyes were suspicious. Jinwoo wants to see you later. He has some questions about your work reports. After Boram left, Teho felt worried. He had been careful, but maybe not careful enough. If Jinwoo suspected something, it would be very bad for both him and Hyena. When Teho told Hyena about the meeting, she became frightened. I remember fear, she said in his mind. Fear of officials, fear of questions. Someone was hunting me, but I cannot remember who. The records say your people are all dead, Teho told her gently. But you are here. That means either the records are wrong or someone is lying. Hyena was quiet for a long time. Then she said, help me remember. I know there are important things hidden in my mind. Things that someone does not want me to remember. Teho did not know how to help with alien memory problems, but he tried to be supportive. He brought her food and water, and talked to her about simple things to keep her calm. Slowly, more memories started to come back to Hyena. She remembered being on a ship far from her home world when something happened. She remembered getting a message that made her very afraid. She remembered trying to return home but being chased by other ships. I was not on Velanos Prime when it died, she told Teho. I was traveling for my work as a diplomat. When I heard what happened, I tried to go home, but the memory stopped there, blocked by pain and confusion. That evening, Teho went to his meeting with Jinwoo. The station chief was a serious man who followed rules very strictly. His office was small and filled with papers and computer screens. Teho, Jinwoo said without smiling. Your work reports show you have been spending a lot of time in Sector 7. That area was supposed to be cleared out months ago. There are still good pieces out there, Teho replied. I am just being thorough. Jinwoo looked at him for a long time. Be careful out there. We have received warnings about unusual activity in the outer sectors. If you see anything strange, you must report it immediately. What kind of unusual activity? Teho asked, trying to keep his voice steady. Alien refugees mostly, Jinwoo said. Some of them are dangerous. They carry diseases or bring political problems with them. The Galactic Council wants us to be very careful. Teho nodded and left the office as quickly as he could. His hands were shaking as he walked back to his ship. When he told Hyena about the meeting, she became very upset. Refugees, she repeated. That word, it means something important. That night, Hyena had a breakthrough. More memories came flooding back, and with them a terrible understanding. I remember now, she told Teho, her mental voice filled with horror. I was not just any diplomat. I was investigating something. Something that powerful people wanted to keep secret. What kind of secret? Teho asked. I do not know yet, Hyena replied, but I know it was important enough for someone to destroy my entire world to hide it. The breakthrough came on the 5th night. Hyena woke up screaming, but no sound came from her mouth. Instead, Teho felt her terror rush into his mind like a flood of ice water. I remember everything, she said in his thoughts, her mental voice shaking. Oh, Teho, I remember what they did. Teho sat beside her bed and took her cold hand. Tell me. Whatever it is, we will face it together. The memories that came to Teho's mind were so clear and terrible that he felt sick. He saw Velanos Prime as it really was in its final days. Not destroyed by a cosmic storm, but dying slowly from something much worse. It was poison, Hyena explained as the images flowed between them. A weapon made to kill only Vellani. It attacked our bodies in a way that no medicine could stop. In the memory, Teho saw Vellani people falling sick in their crystal cities. Their silver-blue skin turned gray, their purple eyes became dull, and their telepathic abilities faded away. The beautiful singing flowers in their gardens went silent as there were no Vellani minds left to hear their music. Who did this? Teho asked, though he was afraid to know the answer. The Kethmoran Empire, Hyena replied with hatred in her mental voice. They look almost like humans, but they are cruel and hungry for power. They have been growing stronger while staying hidden from the Galactic Council. More memories came. Teho saw the Kethmoran as Hyena remembered them. They were tall and pale, with sharp features and cold, dark eyes. They dressed in black uniforms and moved like predators hunting prey, but why? Teho asked. Why kill an entire race of peaceful diplomats? The answer came in another flood of memories. Hyena showed him what she had discovered in her work as a diplomat. The Kethmoran had been placing their people in important positions throughout the galaxy. They were taking control of governments, trade companies, and even parts of the Galactic Council itself. The Villani could sense lies, she explained. Our telepathic abilities made it impossible for the Kethmoran to deceive us. We could feel the darkness in their thoughts, the hunger for control. We were the only ones who could expose them. Tejo felt his anger growing as he understood. So they killed your entire people to keep their secret safe. Not just killed, Hyena corrected him.
Erased. They made it look like a natural disaster so no one would investigate.
Then they spread stories that made people forget the Villani ever existed. The most painful memory came last. Hyena had been serving as an ambassador to a distant world when the poison reached Villanos Prime. By the time she learned what was happening, it was too late to save anyone. I tried to return home, she said, tears running down her blue cheeks. But the Kethmoran were waiting for me. They knew I would try to expose what they had done. Tejo saw the chase through space. Hyena's ship was fast, but the Kethmoran had many vessels. They hunted her across the galaxy like wolves chasing a deer. When they finally caught me, they did not kill me right away, she continued. They wanted to know if I had told anyone else about their plan. They used these weapons on me. She touched the glowing red marks on her skin. Neural disruptors. They were designed to damage the parts of my brain that control telepathy. The Kethmoran wanted to make sure I could never share what I knew. But you escaped, Tejo said. Barely, Hyena replied. I managed to get to an escape pod during a battle with some space pirates. The Kethmoran ship was damaged and I got away. But the neural disruptors had already done their work. My memories were broken. My abilities were gone. I was just lost. Tejo felt overwhelmed by the horror of it all. An entire civilization wiped out to protect a secret conspiracy. Billions of innocent people murdered, and the galaxy did not even know it had happened. There is more, Hyena said quietly. When I was investigating the Kethmoran, I learned they had done this before. The Villani were not their first victims. More images came. Other alien races that had supposedly gone extinct from natural disasters or wars. The Kethmoran had been systematically eliminating anyone who might threaten their slow takeover of the galaxy. How many? Tejo asked. I found evidence of at least 12 other races, Hyena replied. All of them had abilities or knowledge that made them dangerous to the Kethmoran plan. All of them were erased from history. Tejo stood up and walked around the small room. His mind was racing with anger and disbelief. The Galactic Council, do they know? Some of them are Kethmoran agents, Hyena said. Others are just fooled by false reports. The Kethmoran are very good at hiding their true nature. We have to tell someone, Tejo said. We cannot let them get away with this. Who would believe us? Hyena asked sadly. I am supposed to be dead. My people are supposed to be extinct. And you are just a human salvage worker from a mining station. Tejo stopped walking and looked at her. Maybe that is exactly why someone will believe us. Because we have nothing to gain from lying. But even as he said it, Tejo knew the problem was bigger than just telling people the truth. The Kethmoran had spent years building their conspiracy. They had agents in high places and the power to make people disappear. There is something else you need to know, Hyena said, her mental voice becoming urgent. The reason they were so desperate to catch me, I did not just discover their plan. I stole something from them. What did you steal? Names, she replied. A list of every Kethmoran agent placed in the Galactic Council and the major governments. I hid the information in a secure location before they caught me. Tejo felt a spark of hope. Do you remember where? Hyena closed her eyes and concentrated. The neural disruptors had damaged her memories, but slowly, pieces were coming back together. Yes, she said finally. I remember. But getting it will be very dangerous. And once we have it, the Kethmoran will do anything to stop us from using it. Let them try, Tejo said with determination. Your people deserve justice. All the murdered races deserve to be remembered. As he spoke, Tejo realized he had made his choice. He was no longer just helping an injured alien. He was choosing to fight against a conspiracy that had committed genocide on a scale almost too large to understand. Why are you helping me? Hyena asked. You could turn me over to the authorities and go back to your normal life. Tejo thought about that for a moment. Because it is the right thing to do, he said simply. And because sometimes doing the right thing is more important than being safe. Outside his ship, the mining station continued its routine. Workers processed metals, ships came and went, and people lived their normal lives. None of them knew that in one small storage room, Two people from different worlds were planning to challenge one of the most dangerous conspiracies in galactic history. But as Tai-Ho and Hina made their plans, neither of them noticed the small listening device that had been placed on Tai-Ho's ship 3 days earlier. Someone had been watching him, and now they knew exactly what secrets he was hiding. The morning of the 6th day brought bad news. Tai-Ho was preparing breakfast when his ship's communication system buzzed with an official message from Station Chief Jin Woo. All personnel report to the main meeting hall immediately. Jin Woo's voice crackled through the speaker. We have special visitors from the Galactic Council. Tai-Ho felt his stomach drop. He looked at Hina, who was sitting up in her bed with fear in her purple eyes. They have found us, she whispered in his mind. Maybe not, Tai-Ho said, trying to stay calm. Could be a routine inspection. But as he helped Hyena move to a better hiding spot behind some equipment boxes, he knew this was not routine. The timing was too perfect. In the meeting hall, 300 station workers gathered to hear Jin Woo speak. Beside him stood 3 people in official Galactic Council uniforms. 2 of them looked normal, but the third made Tai-Ho's skin crawl. Commander Yoon Dae-jung was tall and pale, with sharp features and dark eyes that seemed to look right through people. When he smiled, it did not reach his eyes. These officers are here to conduct a standard security review, Jin Woo announced. Please cooperate fully with any questions they may have. Dae-jung stepped forward. We have received reports of unusual activity in this sector, he said in a smooth voice. Specifically, there may be dangerous alien refugees hiding among you. Tai-Ho tried to keep his face blank, but inside, his heart was racing. These refugees carry diseases that could harm humans, Dae-jung continued. They also bring political problems that could endanger your station. If anyone has seen or helped such individuals, they must report it immediately. After the meeting, the inspection team split up to search the station. Tai-Ho returned to his ship and found Hina in a state of panic. That man, Dae-jung, she said in his thoughts. I can sense something wrong about him, even with my damaged abilities. His mind feels cold and hungry. You think he is Keth Moran? Tai-Ho asked. I am certain of it, she replied. They have come for me. Tai-Ho knew they had to move fast. He gathered some supplies and helped Hyena put on a worker's coverall and cap to hide her alien features. It was not a perfect disguise, but it might work from a distance. Where can we go? Hyena asked. Tai-Ho thought quickly. The station had many tunnels and maintenance areas that were rarely used. If they could stay hidden until the inspection team left, they might survive. They made it to an old storage tunnel before hearing footsteps behind them. Boram appeared around the corner, her security uniform making soft rustling sounds. Tai-Ho, she called out. What are you doing down here? For a moment, Tai-Ho considered lying to his friend, but something in Boram's expression told him she already suspected the truth. I need your help, he said quietly. Boram looked at Hyena, who had turned to face her. Even with the cap and coveralls, it was impossible to hide her silver blue skin and purple eyes. Holy stars, Boram whispered. You are hiding an alien. She is not dangerous, Tai-Ho said quickly. She is a refugee. Someone is trying to kill her. Boram stared at Hyena for a long moment. Can you speak? Hyena stepped forward and spoke directly into Boram's mind. I can speak this way. My name is Hina. I am the last of my people. Boram jumped back in surprise, then looked at Tai-Ho with wide eyes. She is telepathic. That means she is Villani. But the Villani are extinct. That is what they want everyone to believe, Tai-Ho said. He quickly explained what Hyena had told him about the Keth Moran conspiracy and the genocide of her people. Boram listened with growing horror and anger. You are telling me that entire races have been murdered and the council does not know. Some council members are part of it, Hyena said in both their minds. The man Dae-jung is one of them. As if summoned by his name, they heard Dae-jung's voice echoing through the tunnels. Search every room, every storage area. She is here somewhere. How does he know you are here? Boram asked. Hina closed her eyes and concentrated. Even with her damaged telepathic abilities, she could sense some thoughts nearby. There is a listening device, she said suddenly. On Tai-Ho's ship. They have been watching us, Boram cursed softly. Then they know everything you have told each other. The footsteps were getting closer. Boram made a quick decision. Follow me. I know a place where they will not look. She led them deeper into the station, through maintenance tunnels that were barely wide enough for one person. Behind them, They could hear Daijung's team searching systematically through every room and corridor. Boram's hiding place was an old emergency shelter that had been abandoned when the station expanded. It was hidden behind a false wall in the power generator room. This should buy us some time, Boram said as she sealed the entrance behind them. In the small, dark space, Taeho told Boram about the list of Kethmaran agents that Hina had hidden. If we can get that information, we can expose the entire conspiracy. Where is it? Boram asked. Hina had been working hard to recover more of her memories. A data station on Kepler-7, she said. I used diplomatic codes to hide the files in their archives. Kepler-7 is 3 days away by fast ship, Boram said. But getting off this station will not be easy. Daejung's team will be watching every ship. Outside their hiding place, they heard the sound of heavy footsteps and equipment being moved around. The search was getting more intensive. There is something else, Hina said quietly. My telepathic abilities are starting to come back. The neural disruptors are losing their effect. I can sense the Kethmoran agents more clearly now. How many are there? Taeho asked. Hina concentrated, sending her recovering mental abilities outward like invisible fingers. 3 on the inspection team. But there are others. Some of the station workers. Their minds feel wrong. Boram's face went pale. You mean there are already Kethmaran agents working here? At least 4 that I can detect, Hina confirmed. They have been here for months, maybe years, waiting for orders. The situation was worse than they had thought. Not only were they trapped on the station, but they were surrounded by enemies who had been hiding among the human workers. We need to get word to the outside, Taeho said. Even if we do not make it out alive, someone needs to know the truth. Boram nodded grimly. I can access the station's communication array, but it will be risky. If the Kethmaran realize what we are doing, they will try to stop us. Let them try, Taeho said with determination. These people murdered billions of innocent aliens. Someone needs to pay for that. As they made their plans, the sounds of the search grew louder outside their hiding place. Daejung's voice could be heard giving orders to his team. Seal all exits. No one leaves the station until we find her. And remember, any humans who have helped her are to be considered enemies of the Galactic Council. Hyena gripped Taeho's hand tightly. I am sorry, she said in his mind. I have brought this danger to you and your people. You did not bring danger, Taeho replied firmly. You brought the truth, and the truth is worth fighting for no matter what it costs. Outside, the hunt continued. But inside their small hiding place, 3 beings from different worlds prepared to risk everything, to expose one of the most terrible crimes in galactic history. Time was running out, and they all knew that their next move would determine not just their own fate, but the fate of countless others who had been murdered and forgotten. They waited in the dark shelter for 6 hours while the search continued outside. Finally, the sounds began to fade as Daejung's team moved to other parts of the station. Now is our chance, Boram whispered. The communication array is in the central hub. If we can get there without being seen, I can send a message to the outer colonies. Taeho had been thinking hard about their situation. A simple message will not be enough, he said. The Kethmoran have agents everywhere. They will just deny everything and make us disappear. Then what do you suggest? Boram asked. Taeho looked at Hyena. You said your telepathic abilities are coming back. Can you share your memories with other people, not just me? Yes, Hyena replied. But why? Because people need to see what really happened, Taeho explained. Not just hear about it, but actually experience your memories. If we broadcast your memories across the galaxy, no one will be able to deny the truth. Boram stared at him. You want to use the emergency broadcast system? That reaches every planet, every space station, every ship in this sector of the galaxy. Exactly, Taeho said with determination. The Kethmaran think humans are weak because we help others instead of just looking out for ourselves. Let us show them how wrong they are. Hyena was quiet for a moment, sharing those memories with millions of minds at once. It will be very painful for me, and very dangerous for all of us. I know, Taeho said gently, but your people deserve to be remembered. All the murdered races deserve justice. They made their way carefully through the station's maintenance tunnels. Boram led them along routes that avoided the main corridors where Daejung's team was still searching. The communication center was heavily guarded, but Boram knew the security codes. She disabled the cameras and opened the door to let them inside. I will need at least 10 minutes to access the emergency broadcast system, she said as she started working at the main control panel. Taeho stood guard at the door, while Hina prepared herself for what was to come. Her telepathic abilities were still damaged, but they were strong enough for what they needed to do. "Are you ready?" Taeho asked her. "I am frightened," she admitted in his mind. "But I'm also angry. The Kethmaran have hidden their crimes for too long. They almost made it." Boram had just finished setting up the broadcast system when alarms began blaring throughout the station. Heavy footsteps echoed in the corridors outside. "They found us," Boram said grimly. The door exploded inward and Daijung entered with 4 armed soldiers, his cold eyes fixed on Hina with satisfaction. "The last Villani," he said in his smooth voice. "You have caused us considerable trouble." "Good," Taeho said, stepping protectively in front of Hina. "I hope we caused you a lot more than trouble." Daijung smiled his cold smile. Brave words from a primitive human. "But your heroics end here. Kill them all." The soldiers raised their weapons, but in that moment Hyena made her choice. Her telepathic abilities burst outward like an explosion of light, hitting every mind on the station at once. For a few seconds, everyone felt what she had felt. They experienced the terror of watching Villano's Prime die from the Kethmaran poison. They saw the crystal cities fall silent, and the beautiful singing flowers wither. They felt the pain of being the last survivor of an entire civilization, but more than that, they saw the truth. The names and faces of Kethmaran agents throughout the galaxy flowed through the mental connection. Government officials, council members, military commanders, all revealed as part of the conspiracy. Daijung screamed and fell to his knees, clutching his head. The Kethmaran neural patterns could not handle the pure honesty of Villani telepathy. His disguise fell away, revealing his true alien nature. The soldiers, who were human, lowered their weapons in shock and horror as they understood what they had been part of. "Now, Boram," Taeho shouted. Boram activated the emergency broadcast system. Hina's memories and the evidence of the Kethmoran conspiracy began transmitting across the galaxy. Every ship, every planet, every space station in a dozen sectors received the broadcast. People throughout the galaxy suddenly knew the truth about the extinct races. They saw the genocide, the cover-up, and the names of every Kethmaran agent hiding among them. Daijung tried to reach for his weapon, but Taeho was faster. He tackled the alien commander to the floor and held him down. "This is for Hyena's people," Taeho said, "and for all the others you murdered." The broadcast lasted for 20 minutes before the Kethmoran managed to cut the signal. But it was too late. The information had spread too far and too wide to be stopped. Within hours, Kethmaran agents throughout the galaxy were being arrested by their own governments. The evidence was too clear to deny and the memories too real to dismiss. Hyena collapsed from the effort of the massive telepathic broadcast, but she was smiling. "They will be remembered," she whispered in Taeho's mind. "All of them will be remembered." Station Chief Jinwoo arrived with security forces to arrest Daijung and his team. He looked at Taeho with a mixture of anger and respect. "You have caused a lot of trouble, Taeho," Jinwoo said, "but you have also done something very important." In the days that followed, the galaxy changed. The Kethmoran Empire was exposed and destroyed by a coalition of worlds that had been their victims. Dozens of supposedly extinct alien races were found to be alive, hiding in remote parts of the galaxy. Hyena's broadcast had started something that could not be stopped. A movement to find and protect the survivors of the Kethmaran genocide, and to make sure such a thing could never happen again. Taeho was offered many jobs with important organizations, but he chose to stay with Hyena. Together, they started a new organization dedicated to finding the hidden survivors and helping them rebuild their lives. "Why did you help me?" Hina asked him one day as they worked together on their new mission. Taeho thought about it for a moment. "Because that is what humans do," he said simply. "When we see someone who needs help, we help them, even if it is dangerous, even if it seems impossible. And that is why your species will survive and grow strong," Hyena replied. "Not because you are the smartest or the strongest, but because you care about others." Months later, Taeho stood on the bridge of their new ship, looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, survivors of a dozen different races were being found and helped. The Kethmoran conspiracy was finished and the galaxy was healing. He thought about his old life as a salvage worker, picking through scrap metal to make a living. That life seemed very small and simple now, but it had taught him something important about finding value in things that others had thrown away. Sometimes the most precious things in the universe were the ones that powerful people wanted to forget. Sometimes being human meant refusing to let that happen, no matter what the cost. Hyanna joined him at the observation window, her purple eyes bright with hope for the first time since he had found her. "What are you thinking about?" she asked in his mind. "I am thinking that sometimes the best discoveries are not made by looking for treasure," Tejo replied. "Sometimes they are made by choosing to help someone who needs it." Together they watched the stars and planned their next mission to find more survivors. The galaxy was vast and there was still much work to do, but for the first time in years Hyanna was not alone, and the murdered races would not be forgotten. The human determination to help others, even when it seemed hopeless, had proven stronger than the greatest conspiracy in galactic history. And in a universe full of different alien races and cultures, that was perhaps the most human thing of all.